All right, so just turn the camera the other way.
All right. Here we go. Welcome.
Hi, guys. How are you today? Welcome today. I'm so excited to be making Whoopie Pies. I should have just left off the word pies just then, right? Anyway, we're going to be having a lot of fun doing this. So feel free to ask questions and give us some feedback. We'd be really happy to hear from you. Okay, so we're going to go in a bunch of different steps. The recipe has already, I finally got the recipe posted before the session, so anybody who wants to bake along, you really can do that now. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees, okay? And then we're going to get going. So what I like to do is I like to get myself set up before I actually start doing the mixing. So we're going to measure up the dry ingredients. So we're going to start with some flour. And if you remember from other classes that we've done, you want to always level it off. You do not want to pack in your flour. It has to be nice and fluffy. Okay, so we're going to do 2 cups of flour. And this is all-purpose flour. You don't want to use bread flour. You could use cake flour, but you're probably going to have to add just a little bit more. And that's that. Then we're going to add some cocoa powder. I'm going to use this Hershey's because it's the most available everywhere, okay? So this is going to give you a nice, this is what I use in the sample over here. So it's going to be nice and chocolatey. It's natural cocoa powder. Nothing's done to this, so it's right from the cocoa bean. All right, again, nice and fluffy. And what I do is I put that into the flour, and this is, whoops, something there. This is a really important, thank you. Sorry. This is a really important lesson that I have learned the hard way. Cocoa powder is like talcum powder. It is super light. So if you would throw the cocoa powder into your mixer while the mixer's going, you are going to have a big mess to clean up because it's just going to puff and go everywhere. So I found by mixing the cocoa powder in with the flour, it kind of weighs down the cocoa powder and you don't get as much of a mess.
Very cool.
It's a good idea, right?
I just want to update you. Joan and Nancy Lorenz are watching.
Hi!
Our top fan, Missy Green, Greenwood.
Hi, Missy. So nice to hear that you're on.
She says hello and she's excited to watch and that she misses you.
Oh, I miss you guys too.
So what are we making again today?
Okay, so we're making Whoopie Pies. Good old-fashioned, fun Pennsylvania Dutch recipe. And we're going to also add to the cocoa powder and to the flour, I'm going to be adding a little salt and a little baking soda. So this recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of baking soda. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about cocoa powder and baking soda. Right here, we used the natural cocoa powder. All right. There's also something called Dutch processed baking cocoa powder and black cocoa powder. So those are the 3 that's out there right now. It's kind of like trendy to use the darker cocoa powders. What the difference is that this, because it's natural, you're going to most likely be using baking soda, okay? Because that's going to balance it out a little bit with the leavening. If you're using black Dutch processed, then you're going to be most likely using baking powder in your recipe. And the reason why is this guy here has a lot of acid in it because it hasn't been adjusted. All right. The dark cocoa powder has been neutralized, so therefore you have to add a little acid, which is going to be the baking powder. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? No problems. If ever you have any questions about anything I say, don't hesitate to send me a message or whatever you want to do. Email me, give the shop a call, because I always like to clarify. Sometimes I turn things around and say things backwards, so if I say something that's a little off the wall, don't hesitate to let me know.
Awesome.
So I added the baking soda, and now I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt.
Nice.
And I'm going to set that off to the side.
Susan says, hi, Lisa, and another Lisa says, love your videos.
Oh, thank you so much. Hi, guys. Welcome. I'm so happy to have people watching. I love, my whole thing with kitchen chemistry is the teaching end of it. I just love letting you guys in on secrets of the kitchen. And I remember before when I first was learning how to bake, I used to be so frustrated when things didn't turn out right because I didn't know all the tricks of the trade. So my passion in life is to share all the tricks of the trade with everybody to make your life a little easier.
No secrets here at Kitchen Chemistry.
No secrets here at Kitchen Chemistry. Oh my God. Okay, so that was my dry ingredients. Now I'm going to mix up my wet ingredients, which is just two things. It's basically buttermilk, and you can get that anywhere in any store. There's a little trick too. If you don't have buttermilk, you could add a teaspoon of vinegar or a teaspoon of lemon juice to a cup of milk, and then stir that. And then that will also make the milk sour, which will have the same flavor as buttermilk. Similar flavor. And we're going to do a teaspoon of vanilla.
Okay, Bracinda is watching. She says hello.
Oh, Bracinda, I miss you. There's boxes that have to be folded, Bracinda.
Julie says thank you for these videos. I look forward to them. And Erica says you're doing this. Love your shop.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Now, that is our wet ingredients. Now we're going to do the standard butter and sugar. So I have my KitchenAid. I'm going to throw in 1 cup of brown sugar. All right, light brown sugar. And the thing with brown sugar, you know how I talk about fluffing everything up when it comes to the flour? When it comes to the brown sugar, you have to kind of flatten it out. So I do it right in the bag. I just stick it in there and I press it in nice and tight so it looks just like a sandcastle, okay? Just plop that right in there.
So not light, firmly packed.
Right, firmly packed powdered sugar. Oh my God, brown sugar. Firmly packed brown sugar.
Think of the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, brown sugar. All right, good. That sounds good. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 stick of butter and throw that in there. Turn it on. I always start it off light until it breaks up a little bit, and then I go on full blast. So anybody out there, have they ever made whoopie pies? I know somebody messaged before saying that they make pumpkin whoopie pies, and that reminds me, I do have a great pumpkin whoopie pie video as well, and we just got our YouTube channel up and running, so be sure to visit us there. I'm posting all the recipes of the things that I do in there, so you can have it in one safe spot.
And all of these live streams that you're watching here on Facebook Live archive on our YouTube channel, our Kitchen Chemistry YouTube channel.
Yes.
So you can find the recipes on our Kitchen Chemistry Facebook page.
Right.
And you can find these archived videos on YouTube.
Right, and the recipes are also posted on the YouTube page.
Awesome.
Okay, so just in case Facebook changes something on us, you always have access to the recipes. There you go. You want to take a peek in there. We're going to let this beat until it incorporates.
Okay.
All right. So hope everybody's keeping busy during this this time. We're back at Kitchen Chemistry. It's just easier. This is my comfortable spot here. I love being in my home, in my bakery, and in the kitchen here. All my stuff is here, so it's a little bit easier for me to do my videos from here. It's nice being home too, but it's a little chaotic there. I don't have everything there anymore. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack 1 egg. And I'm going to add that. So oftentimes people will ask me when I'm doing some of the classes, do I have to use room temperature eggs? In most recipes it's good to use a room temperature egg. You get off in a higher volume and things like that. But if you have to separate your eggs, it's much easier to separate a cold egg than it is a warm egg. The yolks will break a lot quicker on a room temperature egg. So separate your eggs, then bring them down to room temperature. And a quick, easy way, safe way to bring your eggs down to room temperature is to set them in a warm water bath in a cup just take the whole cup and set it in warm water, and then that will bring your eggs down to room temperature quicker.
Great tip. Anne says that now she wants a whoopie pie.
Oh, okay.
Bracinda loved our box folding joke. Susan and Kayla are also watching.
Oh, hi guys. Okay.
You want to talk about what we're making again?
We are making whoopie pies. We're doing the classic Pennsylvania Dutch whoopie pie, chocolate whoopie pie with a marshmallow cream filling. Now, for those of you who love devil dogs is basically a whoopie pie. So if you love devil dogs, you're definitely going to love whoopie pies. But nothing tastes as good as a homemade whoopie pie. I can tell you that much.
Woohoo!
All right. Okay, so now I've creamed my eggs and my butter and my sugar. You can see the sugar kind of like melted a little bit. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take 1/2 of my flour mixture. Is anybody else shrinking? I'm shrinking every day. Every time I'm getting closer and closer to the floor. I'm going to need a stepping stool soon to get into my thing here. And then I'm going to also add half of the buttermilk mixture. Again, start it off slow, guys.
If you're having any questions as we're moving along this recipe, please feel free to enter them in the comments below. And if you have a favorite variation to whoopie pies, definitely include that. If you have any family memories of whoopie pies, things like that, we love to hear your stories.
Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scrape the sides. This is important because a lot of times the butter, especially if the butter's not at room temperature, it will stick to the bottom of the bowl, and then you're going to add all the ingredients, and then at the end when you're trying to pump out your whoopie pies, you'll notice big chunks of butter down there. So definitely scrape it. And then I'm going to add my other half of my flour mixture and my other half of my cream mixture. Kathy, you see the on? No.
Oh, Grandpa, Grandma, all the kids are watching.
Oh, good. Oh, my goodness. Hello, everybody. I have to say a special happy birthday to my little Ava, who is my niece. And yesterday was her birthday, and with everyone forgetting the days of the week, I forgot to give her a call. I'm sorry about that, Ava. I'll give you a call later on. Okay. So now we're whipping this up. And I'm going to go down one more time and give it another quick scrape. There we go. All right.
Amanda likes red velvet whoopie pies.
Ooh, we've done red velvet whoopie pies too. They're really fun as well. Very trendy.
Lisa likes peanut butter filling.
Oh, cool. That would definitely be delicious. That would taste like a funny bone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm not going to really mix it a super lot because one of the problems if you overmix your cake batters, it's going to be tough. So we want a nice tender whoopie pie here. So I will. There we go. Notice it's on my right side and I'm left. So everything's a little awkward, but that's okay. Here we go.
Oh, Amanda also says that Ben says hi and he wants the extras.
Oh, okay. Sounds good, Ben. I will let you have the extras. There we go. Now, once again, I'm a big fan of using, I should start all over again. We could use a spoon to pipe this out onto onto a cookie tray. You're going to need 2 cookie trays. And I love parchment. It's just so much cleanup is a breeze with parchment. If you wanted to use a spoon, just take spoons, but it's a little harder to get uniform sizes. Now, the whoopie pies that are over there, the ones that we showed you in the beginning, those were 1/4 cup measurements, all right? Look how big they grew. They're really, really, they expand quite a bit. Okay, so a 1/4 cup is gonna, I'll show you what a 1/4 cup's gonna look like. It's gonna be, believe it or not, about that. So that's not a lot of batter, but it gets that big. So you want to be careful.
It spreads.
What was that?
It spreads.
It spreads quite a bit. Huge spread. Huge, huge spread. No puns. All right, here we go.
Okay, so as you're filling that bag, Stephanie loved to spend all summer going to fairs and carnivals in central Pennsylvania and loves getting the authentic Amish whoopie pies.
Cool.
Her favorite is the chocolate and peanut butter filling, or a good pumpkin.
All right, yes. Those are very popular. They're really great.
Her favorite place to get them is the Bloomberg's Fair.
Cool. Yeah, let's hope they have their fair this year, the way things are going, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, I'm going to just balance off that one over there, just so that... Another thing, the reason why I like to use a cut-off bag, and you can use a freezer bag. That's not a problem at all. Don't use a regular storage bag. They're just not thick enough. Freezer bag will work. See the difference? Okay? If I just spoon it out, I'm going to have an odd-looking whoopie pie. If I pipe it out, I'm going to get a nice round whoopie pie. Okay? So, here we go. I'm going to squeeze them out. These are the 1/4 cup size. So they're going to be pretty big when they come out of the oven. Now, the second tray that I'm going to do, I'm going to make little tiny ones. So now I'll be able to just go like this. Whoop. Look how cute they are. These are going to be just like 1 or 2 bites. Hey, maybe that'll be a nice next trend for weddings, having little whoopie pie bar. Let people fill their own whoopie pies with all different kinds of fillings.
Ryan is watching with his family now and can't wait for his mom to make them.
Oh, good. Very good. So, Ryan, is your mom a good baker? It's nice. You know, one of the fun things about childhood is when there is a good baker in the house, because, and they don't even have to be a great baker. They just have to actually bake something. Because the kids will always remember, and no matter what it turned out, they will have a good positive experience with that.
Ryan says she's the best. Ooh, you got some competition.
Uh-oh. Is there a little Windsor splat in that person's past, maybe? Okay, here we go. I'm going to stick one there. And you notice that I had a little extra batter here, and I just stuck 2 here. I didn't put one here and one here because that will give it a little extra space. So when it does expand, it's not going to ruin the other end ones. All right? So now I have the oven preheated to 350. It's going to be about 10 minutes for these little guys, maybe 12 to 13 minutes for the big ones.
And in they go.
Okay.
So what do we do while they're in the oven?
While they're in the oven, what we're going to do is make the filling. Okay. So clean up this mess a little bit. Bring back my KitchenAid. And my bowl.
Today we're making whoopie pies. Our recipe is posted on our Kitchen Chemistry Facebook page. If you're watching, would love to hear any stories you have about whoopie pies, some of your favorite flavors. Right now we have our top shells in the oven, and we're going to work on our fillings.
Okay, very good. So, fillings are pretty much a little thinner buttercream. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a marshmallow fluff buttercream. So we're going to take 1 cup of powdered sugar. This is another one of those fluffy ones, guys. It has to be nice and fluffy. So 1 cup of powdered sugar, 1 stick of butter, wherever it went. Oh, here it is.
On top of the, yeah, we got it.
On top of the fluff. And instead of adding a liquid, I'm going to add fluff or marshmallow cream. And this is going to be about 1.5 cups. Let me get this out of the way. So, a little trick when you're measuring out fluff, because it's super sticky. If anybody ever made Rice Krispie treats, you know how sticky melted marshmallow is. Good little trick is to spray it with kitchen spray, Pam, or whatever kind of spray you have in the house. Ooh. Okay, who remembers the Fluffernutter sandwiches? Peanut butter and fluff.
How many?
Quite a bit. I think that's a gallon size. Doesn't weigh as much as a gallon. So look how much the plop, that just plops right out. Nothing in the cup. So that's a really good thing. And then I'm going to do a 1/2 cup. All right. So one of the lessons we learned is fluff does not like to be a filling if it's not mixed with buttercream or thickened with powdered sugar for cakes, because it just leaks right out of the cake. It wants to be free, like the blob.
We learned that one the hard way.
Yes, we did. I'm going to beat this for a few minutes until it gets nice and fluffy. It's not going to really be super fluffy, but it's going to be well beat. Okay? So, other fillings. You can make a peanut butter filling by mixing butter, add the stick of butter, the cup of powdered sugar, and start with 1/2 cup of peanut butter and see how that goes. You could add it a little bit more if you want, and that's going to make a great filling for your whoopie pies as well. Okay, so I'm just going to put this on. It's going to get a little loud here for a second. Okay, so this is the filling. So as I said, it's a little bit wetter. It's not really thick and fluffy like regular buttercream. You can use regular buttercream too, and you can also add things to your buttercream. You can add fresh berries, things like that, but you want to use that in place of your liquid. So if you're going to make a strawberry buttercream, you want to replace some of the liquid with smashed strawberries. Because if you add the smashed strawberries to your regular buttercream recipe, then you are going to have a very wet, runny icing.
Yeah. We have a question from Stephanie. She's wondering if there's any cream cheese-based fillings.
Yeah. You can definitely do a cream cheese here because you're not going to overload. So a standard cream cheese recipe, again, would be, I would say, a cup of powdered sugar to 1/2 cup of cream cheese, probably 1/4 cup of butter, and some vanilla. Mix that up and adjust it to your taste.
Okay. And then we have one more question. Could you just add peanut butter to the fluff mixture?
Yeah, you can. You can do that. There might be a little bit of a chemical reaction that happens to it. It might get a little bit stiff, and if it does, then you're just going to definitely put it in a pastry bag and pipe it into your thing, because the whoopie pie is going to be very fragile, so you're not going to be able to spread a real thick filling in there. It's going to have to be a very easily spreadable filling.
Okay. And now Kathy joined. I guess she wasn't on before.
Oh.
And Grandpa says hello.
Hey, Pops. Oh, so Ava wasn't on before?
I don't think so.
No! So I have to say happy birthday to my little Ava again. Ava's my niece, and that's my younger brother Steven's child, and they have a blast. My brother Steven, actually, when I talked to him today, he told me he's actually planning on making whoopie pies, not even knowing that I was. So we have a little bit of a, woo-woo thing going on. Okay, Ava, I hope you had a great birthday yesterday. All right, so that's that. You know, a chocolate filling also is a really good filling to do. Chocolate buttercream, standard. And how you make a chocolate buttercream is by removing some of the powdered sugar and replacing it with cocoa powder. You want to give yourself a little zap, you can throw a little espresso powder in there as well.